Hello and welcome to the Forgotten, where we give the old mush a push and see what oozes out. This time around, the push isn't self-inflicted, but from an outward source, the outward source of marketing. Marketing for the, as of the time of starting this, upcoming 007 First Light. The mush was pushed and what came forth was memories of what was languishing on my shelf for the better part of a year. So today, we'll be looking at 007 Bloodstone. Established in 1988 as Raisin Hell Software before rebranding in 1994, Bizarre Creations were an English studio based in Liverpool, best known as makers of driving games. Independent until 2001, where they became mostly independent, with Microsoft acquiring a minority stake of the company. This in turn led to what Bizarre is most known for, the Project Gotham Racing series. This MSBC relationship continued until Bizarre were bought outright by Activision in 2007. So with the knowledge of what we are ultimately here to talk about today, and based off on what they're best known for, you would, understandably, wonder why, of all developers, they would be creating a game with more than driving. And it's true, that was their primary output. Out of their catalogue, 8 are racing games, 4 are Geometry Wars, and those remaining are one-offs. With 3 of those, for me, being they made that? Those being Fur Fighters, Treasure Planet for the PlayStation 2, and The Club. So whilst Bizarre Creations' foray outside of cars may be a bit of a blindside, they have done so numerous times. Though the fact that none of those were of note may foretell a questionable time ahead of us. And sadly, that time ahead of us would also be the end times for Bizarre Creations. So what happened? Well, post-Activision acquisition, Bizarre continued the Geometry Wars series, with 2 of the 3 of those being co-published with Microsoft, and then they finished off The Club, which was published by Sega. In May 2010, they released their first bigger budgeted game that was entirely Activision's own, Blur. If you are not familiar with Blur, to be reductive, what if Mario Kart, but real cars? The game was well received by the people that played it, which weren't very many. Then in November that very same year, 007 Bloodstone released, which wasn't as well received by the people that played it, which weren't very many. Then, a little over a week after the launch of Bloodstone, Activision was looking to sell Bizarre Creations. Nobody bought Bizarre Creations. So now, what of the game in question? My knowledge of Bloodstone is quite limited. I know that it's third person, and I remember seeing a boat. Not much else. I don't fully know what we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get a GoldenEye, I don't think we're going to get a Nightfire, and I don't think we're going to get an Everything or Nothing. My lowest ground floor, no hopes expectations are that this is going to be a bog standard cover shooter with some driving. The Metacritic scores don't elevate those expectations, as Bloodstone sits with a shoulder shrugging 63. Well, let's get started. Yeah, sure, why not? We begin with the traditional unrelated event to kick off the story. In Athens, the G20 have gathered and are about to take some lovely holiday snaps, but wouldn't you know it, someone is planning to bomb them and the threat is being dismissed by the local authorities. Oh.
You have to have some faith, some trust in my ability to protect them.
You can keep your faith. I put my trust
In filler?
in Bond.
Oh. We dive into action and boot a random man in the head. Tutorials are defied and this somehow oblivious dipstick gets decked on deck. We're on the hunt for Greco, an arms dealer behind the upcoming attack. Ooh, nice water. Some more punching and smoldering later, guns are drawn. Ugh. We find Greco and he easily gets away. Why do you have that there? Oh Oh wow, adaptive zoom, very high tech. So begins our first chase in Bloodstone. It's a pretty standard affair, a lot of things happening around you more than anything else. Although, if you get close to enemy boats, you get to shoot them. So that's something. Things end as they began, with an explosion. There's going to be a lot of those in this game. Not many of them logical. Well, I hope there was no one in those buildings because, well, we certainly killed them otherwise. Greco and his men head for the Acropolis where the Parthenon is. The sea antics continue on land with shooting, punching, and land boats exploding. I'm alive. How's about that? What? We catch up to Greco and after a scuffle, the bomb drives by. But it's okay. We're beside a convenient licensed vehicle that's unlocked with the keys inside. What? What the hell happened there? Upon reload, a rather unenthusiastic chase occurs. I'll be honest, I spent most of the time trying to get to grips with how the car handles more than anything else. It just wasn't that particularly interesting. Regardless, we chase and reach the point where we are allowed to get in on the car. Look, you can see him! Oh, he's taking it well. We wrap things up with M.
May I get you something to drink?
Yes, I'll have a bourbon, neat.
And what can I provide for the gentleman?
Casual sex.
You'll have a vodka martini.
And proceed to the obligatory opening sequence, and yes, the pause and skip are there throughout every cutscene in the game. It's distracting, and with its permanent placement has the air of, you know, you can just move on if you like. Anyway, the opening title sequence it's kinda poor. Some nice colours, but ultimately has one idea. I don't know, diamonds? 'Cause Bloodstone, you see. It's just a bunch of slow motion, low impact action with diamond particles strung together with no real thought. Even the sexy silhouettes look bored. It kinda sucks. Also, it's weird seeing one of these sequences that are supposed to be cool, stylish, and having Bond just kick someone right in the balls. Post-clove sex, because we don't want to show nudity, nor do we want to make blanket physics. Then again, maybe there was a time skip, maybe there wasn't even sex, maybe he just snuck into a random woman's room and was just staring at her. Whatever the reality, M calls with the details on Bond's latest assignment. The brief in brief. Midhurst Laboratories, a military contracted English biotech firm with a contract for super secret biotech for the UK Defence Forces. Which Defence Forces? Don't know. As with all these things, details are unspecifically specific. Regardless of the intended user, the research is so secret that the writer doesn't have to spend the time coming up with it. Senior researcher Malcolm Tedworth has gone missing. Initially presumed dead, a tip was received that Earl Malcolm was doing a treason and looking to sell the research in Istanbul. And it's our mission to go have a look-see. In Istanbul, in a jumper, we find ourselves outside of a construction site, under which resides an ancient catacomb, wherein, or thereabouts, the call with the tip originated. Once inside, we get access to our phone, which in a post-Batman Arkham Asylum world is kinda like detective vision. You use it to hack, scan, and, miraculously, find and track weapons through walls. If this seems a tad broken, it is. And they try to dissuade you from using it by distorting the image if you run around with it out. Personally, the distortion didn't bother me, I didn't want to keep looking at the green. We non-suspiciously roam and scan the construction site, and then go to meet the Oh no! The cabin door spontaneously bursts open and we make our escape. My favourite part of this is that it implies that Bond made no effort whatsoever to escape throughout that whole scene. I'm over here now. Somehow, all the eyes were on the office and they didn't notice Wait, hold on. They didn't notice a 5'10" adult man sliding down the arm of a crane. Is he not going to move? Alright. Bada bada! The search of the construction site begins in earnest, but with one silly decision, all hell breaks loose. Yeah, the AI isn't exactly proactive. They just like to stand around or pretend that they're doing something. Yeah. He's okay, folks. Seriously, I don't understand this. I get it, but also I don't. He shoots the one that he isn't standing on so it falls, which somehow attacks the one he is on, because apparently this crane functions on a counterbalance system. Both of whatever these are fall a great height, but we are somehow okay. That's right, James, you brush off those shattered tibias and ankles. Yeah. Dr. S. just a Cummins. Well, he's not going to be a Cummins anymore. Attempted sneakiness resumes and is much more successful. Which on the subject of... The stealth is rudimentary and non-committal in Bloodstone. Opposition with the most basic of AI movement loops. Activation through eyeline and sound. With player mechanics comprising of a melee takedown from cover or in the open that's silent outside of short range and oh no, I did a whoopsie Hail Mary in the form of the focus shot, a limited resource resupplied via melee takedowns. This, of course, isn't stealth exclusive, it's a universal mechanic, but it serves an important function in this context. An odd thing in that, in spite of stealth being a cornerstone of this game, there's no crouch. It's weird. A stealth system with no crouch, as is tradition. To be crouched is to be small and silent, but there's none here. And so, as a result, you must make the slow, perfectly upright approach with no attempt of being sneaky. And to address the non-committal comment, Bloodstone is a game of localized encounters. You are the center of the world, anything not in your presence does not exist. So you can enter a room all stealth-like, leave all death and destruction-like, and no one outside of that space will care. The rest of the world will be oblivious, welcoming you to give it another go, regardless of location and events that have occurred. In spite of the barrage of gunfire, explosions, screams of death and for backup, which charges in and leaves just as quickly, when at all possible, I opted for a stealth approach and when caught, reloaded and continued to do the same. The obvious design desire being get caught, do a big bang, a smooth blend of the two styles. I met this with crossed arms because there's already a lot of mandatory shooting and it is not interesting. So if I get caught, I'll take the cooldown time of a load screen because I need something else to do, even if what that is the blandest puzzle box stealth. It's something different, it's something to think about. The side effect of this approach is the laying bare of the rudimentary design and shortcomings that make up what is supposed to be, seemingly, an integral aspect of the game. Also, yes, we are being chased by a big drill. Well, that felt like shit. Deep in the catacombs we find a prisoner, but not the one we seek. Old Remy here is at death's door, but before he steps through, he tells of his captor, Vernon, who is after bioweapon research. Though, as will be uncovered a little bit later, not for himself, but someone of grander standing.
Maybe you can still save Tedworth.
Is he dead? Can we at least get his arms down so he can be comfortable? Alright. We clamber and awkwardly jump ahead on the trail of Tedworth, who is conveniently getting moved about in front of us. Things go boom all round and including the room. Not the last time that's going to happen. We catch up with Tedworth and Vernon, undisturbed by the nearby destruction.
Stop! I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Now you may think that this whispering is possibly a setup for another mystery. It's not. I don't know why it's whispered. Maybe it was going to be and they just dropped it. Maybe there was an error in the audio file and they didn't want to re-record it. Maybe, just maybe, the writer couldn't be arsed. Anyway, Tedworth's dead and Vernon calmly gets away.
He's here! Let's move!
Vernon is getting away, but it's okay. We're beside a convenient licensed vehicle that's unlocked with the keys inside. It's another low-energy chase. In spite of erratic drivers dumping at us and fuel pumps pumping their last, stuff happens and yet nothing happens. The target, so near and yet so far. So near until miraculous bursts of speed take place, yet so far until whims of a casual drive take place, allowing us to catch up. Perhaps this is simply a characterization of Vernon. He's very forgetful of things out of sight. We continue on, get peppered with gunfire to pretend that they're stakes, watch random civilians eat shit because, oh, it's chaotic, and then we join them in the fecal feast. Whilst that was a devastating crash, he's okay, folks. The Big Bang Boom resumes. A ladder gets pushed over. He knocked it over. You fiend! Oh, I'll never be able to lift that. Aha! Who needs a ladder animation when Plank can solve all? With many, many more deaths dealt, we catch up to Vernon, who successfully hands over the information. Bond, instead of doing anything to stop the helicopter, gives Vernon a smack and an interrogation.
Who is it? Who hired you? Give me the name.
Pomerov. Stefan Pomerov.
Alright, here's the justification for killing him. Oh!
Please, let me go. I'm no good to you anymore.
You got that right.
Oh, we're killing him anyway. Alright. With a name comes information. Stefan Pomerov, Russian man of business, owner of oil wells, diamond mines, and recently a casino in Monaco. And that is where we are headed next. And when we get there, we're to meet up with a contact. Suited in Monaco, we meet with one Nicole Hunter, jewelry designer, famous for being famous, and MI6 contact. She gives us the previously surmised information of Pomerov, and that she's acquainted with him through his jewelry business. She's going to betray us, isn't she? At the casino, someone at Bazaar remembered the license that they're working with, and realised that they should do something other than just stealth and shooting. As we're just back to stealth. But now, with the introduction of low-to-the-ground, massive lens flare emitting spotlights. There's a camera in there somewhere, I think. The cameras are this game's attempt at escalation of its stealth, and are as effective globally as this one is. They are also quite few in number, to the point that I would keep forgetting they existed, and when they popped up again, it would elicit an internal wordless sensation of, oh yeah. Regardless, we punch and choke our way around the what could have been. Nicole and Pomerov elevate, and I look around for progress. With a lot of roomable, seemingly empty space, curiosity is raised. But one set of double doors presents us with the start of a double down that I mentioned earlier when talking about the stealth of Bloodstone. I did 8 attempts at this room. It's not necessarily that it was hard. There were just oversights, instances of rushing, times of what am I allowed to get away with, and one time the AI pathing just broke. He just stood there. The room gets cleared and nothing happens. It's odd. It turns out that the door we watched Nicole through has a lock that we can use. I was simply distracted by the scene that I missed the prompt. To get through, we need a key code, and the code has been distributed between 3 different guards. Of course! Well, now this roamable space makes sense. Contrived sense, but sense. It's time to fulfill the purpose of the set dressing and then make our way towards Pomerov's office. Nicole! Nicole, it's me! It's Nicole! Nicole, it's me! Me! Nicole! Over here! Nicole! Nicole, it's me! Nicole! Nicole, I'm outside the window! Nicole! Nicole! Nicole, it's me! Nicole! In Pomerov's office, his safe gets hacked and a recording of Tedworth's interrogation is easily accessible. Practically plays itself. It turns out he was a part of research looking into antidotes for anthrax and smallpox, and Vernon wants to know if it can be reverse engineered and weaponized. Bond takes some worthless photos, and once again, there's focus on the password exchange. Once again, the password is never a factor in the story. Oh, thank God. I haven't shot anything in ages. It's time to pop till they drop. And I guess now's as good a time as any to talk about the pop. If it hasn't been exceptionally clear, if I am somehow so inept at this that I managed to obscure it, you shoot a lot in Bloodstone at a lot of people. It's the main thing you do, and it's not particularly interesting. It's not particularly bad either. What it is as with the majority of Bloodstone, it's fine. It is as it looks on its face, a third-person shooter with a cover system. The game as a whole is really all face. It has a variety of faces, but there's not a lot happening underneath it. No, I'm just going to stop with the face talk. I feel like that metaphor just kind of got lost. The point is, the game is very shallow, so it's unfortunate that it also doesn't play the best. Again, it's not bad, it's just not the tightest. Bond's movement is kinda heavy and can feel a little unwieldy at times. The horizontal aiming is too sensitive and the vertical aiming is much slower, and there's no way to individually adjust. And you'll utilize these less than ideal inputs in a world of excessive dilapidation, mismanagement, really whatever excuse we can muster to explain as to why there's waist-high cover, so you can do your shoot-bangs with some degree of safety. The majority of encounters are your standard wave upon wave, entering upon the priors crashing against the coast. Encounters at times meandering due to the extended nature of the battles, but also the inherent nature of the stop and pop cover shooter. With each rearing of the head, a smattering of bullets in exchange for hopefully a greater number for the intended recipient. On agent difficulty, a less than ideal result. But there is a way to avoid such a situation. There's something that I like to test in a third-person shooter, and it comes in 2 questions. The first, where do bullets come from? The player or the camera? In Bloodstone's case, the camera. Why this is done is understandable. The player doesn't need to concern themselves with themselves. They can just look at the crosshair and blast away when felt appropriate. The important follow-up question, where am I? The I in this case referring to the player's hurt box. Is it the character model or is it the camera? In Bloodstone's case, the model. You can likely see where this is going. Behind a wall is where it's going. As long as there is an, at minimum, bond height, bond 1.5 wide obstacle, you are unstoppable. Now you may say this is an exploit, cheating. No, we just weren't privy to it. But before the game began, we got hooked up with Q Branch's latest smart bullets, though truth be told the bullets aren't actually smart after all. We procure ammo and guns on site. So then how does it work? The phone's scanner and magnets and his watch. So yes, I played this game behind a wall. In a way, the ultimate cover shooter. But of course, AI can make all the difference. They could run me down, flank me, flush me out with a grenade, etc. They don't. They don't do much of anything. They, like me, are quite content to remain in their spot. Unfortunately for them, they're not also magicians. Those that do brave the long walk do so ordinarily alone, a slow march towards a swift end. The thing is, they do have grenades, they just never throw them. And when they do choose to do so, there is a non-zero chance that they will find the same grenade at their own feet. So you know what, I guess, who can blame them? Ultimately, they're a passive bunch, making the proverbial fish in a barrel feel like the most applicable to any game that I have played in recent memory. They appear, find their spot, sometimes to stand in the open, sometimes to cover in the wrong direction, and they all fall one by one at the unseen hands of some reality-bending enigma. Oh! Woofy's in the second, hold on! I said hold on! Architect of Casino. Bust of Christoph Laurel, the architect who designed the casino in 1868. Throughout its history, the casino has played host to the rich and famous, an indicator of opulence and wealth. It was recently acquired by Russian entrepreneur Stefan Pomerov for an undisclosed sum. Alright, where were we? After obtaining some much needed intel, we burst out of the casino and escape. Also, I just noticed in watching this back, Nicole is just turning the steering wheel back and forth. Back at the hotel, Bond and Nicole start talking until Em says get the hell out.
Right here.
Nicole?
Yes, we don't want her to overhear the post-mission phone sex. They're trying a new thing to try and get Bond more focused.
Of course.
Anytime he has sex with random women, they somehow all turn up dead. So Em's taking one for the team, so to speak. MI6 have translated all the documents that Bond photographed, which was one. Poorly. Turns out that incredibly zoomed in piece of a generic chemical formula was an invoice for equipment for a chemical refinery Pomerov revived in Siberia. Combine this with Tedworth's research and you can see where this is going. Of course, they're going to make the antidotes to anthrax and smallpox and then sell them at extortionate prices. No, of course not. He's weaponizing it. If he wasn't, then they'd have to make Pomerov American. That would be Stephen Palmer's plan. And then there would be no satisfying resolution to the story, because it'll turn out it was government backed, and so the ending is just Bond putting his hands in his pockets and walking away. Anyway, we are going to have a look-see, and Nicole is going to help us get in. We are en route to Pomerov's chemical facility under the guise of Nicole's bodyguard.
I also need somewhere for my bodyguard to wait, where he can be fed and watered.
Park the car over there, and he can wait in the shed.
Spasiba.
Oh, I do so hope that there are sugar cubes. And now we're going to do something different. The casino was set dressing, but this time we're amongst the people. It's time for spying. It begins with the promise of maybe something more. We're turned out into the car park and need to find our way in. The door's guarded, so what do? We hack a car alarm and set it off. Once within once guarded walls, we're given a tutorial tip. And there's something about this that creates a feeling of a different game coming our way. We step into reception. It's very dead, and any poking and prodding of our surroundings quickly signals the hollowness. No investigation, seemingly just go this way. But we will explore regardless. There's another locked door, but this one requires something more, and also it's guarded. Alright, maybe this is a wee bit more open than I thought. We head upstairs and we're funneled into the bar, standard for chemical facilities. Can we order a drink or anything? No. Okay, but now we have the server room, the computer center, and a bar to work with. Anywhere else? Another guarded door. Well, no. Alright, I guess the server room it is. The road to the server room proceeds expectantly, as this is not the place to be hidden in plain sight. With a walk and a chop, we hack the mainframe, but the research is nowhere to be found. We must now go to the computer center, but to get access, we need Pomerov's biometrics, voice, and fingerprints. With previous exploration, the path is obvious. We're going to get hammered. I mean, it makes sense because we get to have a face-to-face with the antagonist, perhaps a tense back and forth, the conversation focused on the dance around cover maintenance with Bond being a little shit, and also brute force is shaken not stirred. The conversation gets recorded, prints get lifted from his glass. Wait.
In 74, this site was
That's
decommissioned
Pomerov's voice
20
sample.
years later.
Now you just need to find a scan
However,
of Pomerov's fingerprints.
Since
Oh.
recently
Well, we still need the fingerprints, so there's that. We're still going to run into Pomerov near or at the bar, and Nicole will introduce us. And he just left the room. So he just coincidentally came here for a drink, left, and the bar woman gives zero shits and just let the... And we're just going to assume that these are his fingerprints. So we didn't get a face-to-face, no tense conversation trying to maintain cover, no being a little shit, no shaken not stirred. Well, we have Pomerov's biometrics, but if you remember, there's a guard at the door, a guard in an open area, civilians aplenty. To get through, we can't be direct, we're going to have to find some false ID or he's just walking away. And that's it. There's never an attempt at anything like this again. This is the representation of espionage, of spy work, of James Bond's profession. It's a feckin' espionage. There's another quiet moment ahead of us, but it's just the data fragment gathering again. But this time in a single room. Wow! I mean, I wasn't expecting anything with depth, but I was hoping for something more than a limp gesture. In what could have been a more freeform experimental multipath sequence is instead hand-holded A to B, with possibilities that extend beyond the purview of gun or fist, hand-waved when possible. We don't even have any gadgetry to work with. All we get is the all-seeing, all-knowing hacker of all, tracker of guns seen and unseen and never known, scanner of man, machine and miscellaneous, with history lesson, MI6 database or Wikipedia entry ready to go when called upon. The thing doesn't even get a tech breakdown introduction by Q. And where is Q? Where's Q branch? It gets mentioned, but that's about it. I mentioned earlier that a living world is beyond Bizarre Creation's aspirations, or hell, maybe it's even means. But for feck's sake, give me something. After all the stock stealth, shooting to tiresome length and boring driving, we finally take time to focus on one of the key aspects of Bond, spying, and this is what we get. A sub 10-minute throwaway that fails to deliver on the next to nothing that it's set up. I felt genuine disappointment with this section, and now with the knowledge that this is as good as it gets, it bums me out even more now after recounting it. In our return to the norm, it's self-inflicted trial and error stealth with awkward timings, which, once complete, it's a return to a walkabout as we nonchalantly approach the computer center. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen here.
Damn it! We thought we could get in without setting off the alarm. We need time to access the files. You've got to keep the phone in range. Do you think you can hold out?
You'll be the first to know if I can't.
Oh no! Who could have seen it coming? Boy, it sure is nice of them to approach me in an orderly manner. With many men killed, the hack is complete, and we discover that this isn't merely a chemical facility. Yes, Pomerov is using this place to develop bioweapons. So naturally, we're going to blow it up. Are we concerned with the potential environmental ramifications of destroying a facility crafting bioweapons with an aspiration of weaponizing anthrax? Nah. Oh no! The room has been sealed and is being filled with a no-brand generic presumed toxic gas. Why didn't they do this earlier instead of sending wave upon wave of soldiers to their deaths? Why is this even something that was built? Doesn't matter. We gotta climb and janky jump our arse out of here. And what better means of escape from a locked down room than an unlocked door? I feel like it's going to cause problems when the gas rises. And yeah, maybe the doors are airtight. But like when I come out, I think I get to the door, and if I die in between the doors and there's banging against me, the gas is going to come out. That's going to cause all kinds of problems. With a little more death dealt, we escape the computer center for the calm alertness of the outdoors. Where we flank an ambush. Bada bada! Get into a firefight that nobody nearby cares about, and arrive at the T-junction known as the Central Control Room. A room filled with machinery that James couldn't possibly understand how to use. But it's okay, because someone has jammed some cables into a laptop. That's how that works. Now, to make the booms big and mighty, we need to override the coolant and exhaust systems. And where we start is up to us. It's the kind of annoying thing about the chemical facility. It's like a glimpse of a more interesting game. But now's not the time for lament. It's the time to stick a potato in the plant's exhaust pipe. And we do so in a manner simply described as business as usual. That's new. And it never happens again. Oh, something is amiss. He doesn't normally propel blood and brains at high speed. Not in work hours. It's suspicious, but you know, it's not suspicious enough to move. When in doubt. Bada bada! Aha! Well, that was easier than expected.
You've done it, Bond.
Yeah, I've done it all right.
Station and override the safety features.
It's an explosive jog back to the control room where we trade fire for ice. The road to coolant collapse, so cool that it's numbed its occupants to neighbouring Armageddon. This is an extension of the game failing to live up to any degree of response to player action or game events. The fact that we couldn't even get an alert variant is expected, but come on. I get it, it's time, it's money, it's work, it's making 2 variations of every encounter. It just makes the game feel dead. And with this being the first and only time in the game where we get a choice in how things unfold, it really highlights this fact. The next encounter does the bare minimum for what would work for this first room, where they're just prepared for someone to come through the door. It's like they designed the second encounter expecting a failure in the first. A fight is fought through a big room of big mismanagement of stock and what have you. Another valve is turned and oh no, the room is getting real cold real fast. So Bond must get out as soon as possible before his willy retracts to the point of inversion. And if that happens, oh, I'll never be able to fish it out. It's so dumb it caused a weird blockage in the nose. My body's trying to self-smother. Willy chilly, but still outward facing as we make our way back, and yeah, you just put that gun right on top of the laptop, you fucking idiot.
Nicole,
James, where are you? What's taking so long?
meet me outside with the car running as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, that
I'm on my
specific
way.
location of outside. After a reprieve, the explosions start again as we head into a hold-off. A hold-off where soldiers continually funnel in from left, right and centre, but never behind. That would be unsporting. After much too long, Nicole pulls up and we skedaddle. Pomerov is getting away, but it's okay. He's right in front of us. Okay, we're a couple of these sequences deep now, and well, when I came into this game, I was waiting for cars to come into play, because of course they will. Bizarre Creations, developers of racing games, James Bond, License to Drive. These sections aren't good. I had not played a Bizarre Creations driving game before, so to come to these sections and to have one of my main takeaways be, "You drive feel bad," was confusing to me. I adjusted to the handling during the driving section in Istanbul, so I don't think the problem is the driving itself. It's the context. So what is the context of learning to drive? By and large, a very gentle left turn. I cannot stress this enough. I am not lying when I say the majority of this level is turning to the left. There are 2 straight roads in this section. After the initial right turn, it's a straight until you get to the main road. Then you turn left, and left, and left, and forever fucking left. If you had stick drift, it would practically play itself. And then they shake things up by saying, but now you're going to go to the right, and then you go right, and you go right, until you go into the final straight to the finish. I was stunned when I looked back at the recording because I could not believe how fucking boring it was. And this speaks to the majority of your time behind the wheel in Bloodstone. It's boring. It's boring because the player is so passive. It's not a thrill and chase, which by the way, it's always a chase. It's all you ever do. You never drive to get away. You never drive to get somewhere. You never drive to do anything bloody else. It's not a thrill and chase. It's you sat back doing the bare minimum of keeping the car on the road and maintaining a certain distance. Even when the roads tighten and we have something that you could say requires effort, I still feel nothing. And that's in part because there's no interactivity. You don't ram cars, you don't deploy gadgets, you can't catch up to your target. Follow the script, and when the day and time of progression has arrived, then we will continue. The most interactive a vehicle section gets in this game is in the opening boat sequence where you can shoot. You don't aim or anything, but you still have to line the boat up and get close. It happens because I make it happen, and that is not the case for the rest of these sections. Most of the time, these don't feel like driving sequences, just a different delivery method for crap getting flung in your face. For example, look at this chase. Look ahead of us. Look at the destruction. Now look at what I'm doing. There's an important lesson to be learned here. Just because you know how to make a good racing game does not mean that you know how to make a driving action game. Those are 2 very different design skill sets.
James, the tower! James, what are you doing?
I don't know, I can't see yet. This section is the one time that I felt something whilst driving in this game. You're still chasing, but you must go slippery fast, with immediate death at the slightest screw up. Finding the path, making those turns, driving up a slope, there's risk. A revelatory moment because for the first time in a driving segment in this game, I am thinking. For the first time in a driving segment in this game, I'm having fun. Now, upon replaying this sequence for the purposes of testing, it doesn't really have the same effect. Really, it just plays itself the least. Still risk low, you know, it's just not as special as it initially felt. It's also only about a minute long. It felt longer at the time, but my, what a minute! One of my favourite things about the driving sections is its seeming lack of idea on how to end them. Sorry, I should say lack of ideas. They have an idea, which is have a car crash. Physics and repercussions be damned. In this case, Bond rams the car and wedges it in the train. But he's okay, folks. Nicole, not so much.
You alright?
Oh, I think I broke my wrist.
Yeah, let me see.
Well, now you have. The train comes to a halt. Yes, in spite of the stillness of the scene, the train was still moving. Pomerov legs it to his airboat, and his Bond sense tingles, I guess, as he rushes to the pilot, telling him to take off. Pomerov's getting away, but it's okay. We're beside a convenient hovercraft that's unlocked with the keys inside. Nicole will pilot, but also...
If you puncture one of those chemical johns with a bullet, the bioweapons will escape and kill everyone.
How does she know this? And yes, turns out not only are the keys inside the hovercraft, but also a small army. I wonder how many times a level or a sequence starts with this. Pomerov is very slowly getting away, and to catch up with him, we're gonna have to dump ass. The road to doing so is the same old for the most part. But now our aim wiggles about because boat, you see. Truth be told, it's a very simple but effective trick to convey the wrist down the waters. And also, it adds a slight hectic feel to combat. We open the rear, but oh no! The cargo is putting up a fight! So we must sneak about to dump it out. Oh! With the second jettisoning, we must fight back up to deck, where it's time for the late 2000s, early 2010s special, a turret sequence. Kind of a turret boss actually, as we must shoot out the plane's engines, whilst down in missile barrages, in what is one of the most unsatisfying, disconnected shooting experience I have ever experienced. So much time spent waving a reticle over something with no feedback. It's so bad that if you told me that this was an interactive video file, it would momentarily give me pause. Because maybe, just maybe, Bizarre Creations got some action max in this shit. With the engines vaguely taken care of, it's time to hop on board. And inside, we sprung a leak. Whoops. We push to the front with increasing wibbliness. Confront Pomerov.
Shoot me. You still die.
No one-liner? Really? Nothing about cracking open a window, like letting some air and nothing. And should that even have sucked them out? Like we're still on the water and the doorway came in is open.
Change your plans.
That's how you're ending it. Just a hard cut with no beat after the one-liner. The cleanup begins, and after a turn in the blind eye back and forth, Nicole appears. A summation. Sex? No. Sex? No. Dude, sex! Post-sex posit. Everything seems to be wrapped up nicely. Pomerov is dead, his factory gone, and along with everyone in and around it. But one mystery remains. Who gave the tip of Tedworth selling the research in Istanbul?
Wanted us to get to Pomerov. And the
Why wouldn't
question
you
is
have
who
done this
and
at
why?
any point since
So how
getting
do
the
you want to
phone?
proceed?
The call has been traced, and it's from one Colonel Ping, a top Chinese agent. An agent of what exactly? Who knows? He's an agent, he's Chinese, he's top. We're to meet with Colonel Ping in an aquarium in Bangkok to discuss this matter further. I know he wanted to meet in an aquarium, but this is ridiculous. It's so small and open. Before we meet with the Colonel, there's some busy work to be had. Ping has had word that the aquarium is rife with mics, and it's up to us to check the place over and take care of them, which you would think would cause us to possibly abandon this meeting, since the purpose of meeting in the aquarium was one of safety. If the aquarium is bugged, then I'm pretty sure someone is onto us. But regardless of what seems to be a lack of common sense, we must take care of the bugs and create a feedback loop. This was the one more spying-esque section that I mentioned before, where it's just the fragment collection from the casino, but somehow more basic, as you run around the extremities of the aquarium and do a hack of the 3 bugs. Why is this transmitter here? Why did they put it out in the open? They could just put it on the other side. The phone shows it. It didn't have to be. Someone's just going to lean against this and knock it off. The sole unique element is a minigame that you must perform to assemble an audio file. The minigame doesn't feel entirely thought through or really clever, just trial and error the correct combination of the 3 audio files. With what little work that's required done, the feedback loop begins. I'm sure that the people listening in will not find this sudden tampering suspicious in the least. We finally meet up with Colonel Ping in the most open, empty space in front of the biggest, most eye-drawn window of the room. After an attempt at metaphor, we get to the point. Someone is going around stealing secrets most dangerous, not to use, but to sell and hold power over those that desire them. Ping & Co.'s investigation has led back to a man named Rack. What has he done? You know, stuff. Bad stuff. How did he know we were here? Alright, I need to pause for a second because this whole situation, this whole sequence, it's very stupid. I've already displayed my incredulousness of the secretness of this meeting, so leave that as like a bed for the rest of this to lay upon. The assassin, in a public area, in full gear, is stood on this walkway with a sniper rifle, already dumb, beyond overcompensating for the job at hand. So he stood up there, takes the shot, and then proceeds to come down to Bond's level, or nearabouts, staircase to the entrance. But he jumps down to run upstairs again, and he has to be upstairs initially because there's not enough railing down here for this cutscene to make sense. But you see, he had to come down because if he didn't, he would have gotten away already. But he's not working alone, no. Because as we all know, an assassin can only kill one person. And so they've prepared for the possibility that there would be a second person in a meeting of two people. And so, when the assassin has done their job, the aquarium is besieged by a small army of Sam Fishers. In a way, a fitting place to deploy them. So we must deal with the Fishers to chase down the assassin so we can find out who they're working for. We couldn't possibly ask any of the goggled goons. No, they wouldn't know the person the assassin works for. Different divisions, different leadership structure, not a lot of crosstalk going on. It's a whole thing. So we go through this contrived chase, kill an absurd number of well-equipped and presumed well-trained Fishers, with varying colours of goggles to convey nature of equipment. We chase the assassin all the way to the top, find a body that our phone tells us was killed by the assassin. So the assassin entered from the roof, and instead of sniping floors up, with a clear shot of us, at a range that would make the sniper rifle make a lick of sense, he instead comes all the way down, till he's barely above the ground. Take one single shot, jump down, and run away. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think this section was very well made. What follows is actually a nice sequence in setting and context as we continue our chase of the assassin on and around the rooftops of Bangkok. Is it at all engaging? Not especially. When there's no real risk of failure, there's no real risk of caring, you know? Mainly, this section is carried by its aesthetics and the reduced amount of combat. It's still there, but there is less. And also, the straight-line nature of our path is better obscured. We catch up to the assassin, he takes a leg-shattering leap, and Bond follows suit. But oh no! We've landed on a convenient dump truck that's unlocked with the keys inside. The assassin's getting away, but it's okay. We're beside a convenient tow truck that's unlocked with the keys inside. Oh, but I want to be in the tuk-tuk. This applies to this game, but really a hell of a lot more. Doing something like this with the tuk-tuk kinda loses all impact when you immediately tutorialize it. There's a charm that gets lost, like a get on with a tone that kind of undermines the joy that could be had. You've already seen the gist of this chase, so there's not much to go over. There is one thing though. The dump truck destroys a highway from underneath, dropping the traffic into our path. Some of the cars and debris land in the dump truck itself, and the assassin tips it out in front of us. It's a fun little moment, a nice little yes and to the highway idea. But anyway, things carry on. There's tons of destruction that elicits absolutely nothing from me. We get the most egregious burst of speed that exists in this game, and Bond just drives off an incomplete highway, crashing and wedging into the front of the dump truck. One idea. Variations of an idea. A car crashed and exploded. A car ramped and crashed. A car ramped, crashed and wedged. And now a car fell and wedged. But ultimately, one idea. a bus driver gets killed, and Big Dumpy gets big drownied, with us stuck in the front, assuredly further crushing the tow truck and by extension, Bond. He's okay, folks! And over here. Yes, in spite of the 30 to 40 mile an hour crash and halt, in spite of then being spiked into the ground, Bond managed to pull himself from the mangled wreck, swam over here to this rock, and then just conked out. Also, the police are here and are investigating the scene. They've taken the assassin's corpse away, but somehow missed Bond. He's been here for 6 hours! This is part of the reason why I can't bring myself to care about anything that happens in this game, because Bazaar sure as hell didn't. Also, the bridge has already been repaired. They work fast in Bangkok. MI6 gets in contact. They're wondering what the hell is going on and are going to look into Rack, which amazingly, Rack is all the info they need. Not many with that name, I guess. And as we'll soon find out, we may find out more about Rack from Silk, an acquaintance of Bond who has a club nearby. What are the odds? Oh, and the police are after us. And with the police being after us, that means we're going non-lethal. Thankfully, the police are in agreement and are coming equipped with tasers. Isn't that lovely? What follows is the most force the stealth gets. But at the end of the day, Bloodstone is still Bloodstone. I guess Bangkok is a city on the rise. Doesn't have time to move crates, just build around them. We gallivant across more rooftops, find ourselves in an abandoned or yet to be 3D fighter stage. If we stay here long enough, Kasumi may jump in, before arriving at Silk's club.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good man. Is there some way I can be of service?
I don't know what expression they're going for. If they just want to communicate that he sucks,
someone who preys
then
on
good
the
job, I guess.
The world is
After a little back and forth, we're told that Rack has a boathouse on the Chao Phraya River, and so we head off. Also, during this conversation, Bond calls Sulk Sulky.
Because I know you, Silky.
I find this most humorous for reasons that I don't understand.
There's an Englishman on his way to see Rack. My money says he won't make it. And you know how much I hate to lose my money. Don't let me down.
Wait, the guy that sucks? No! My beliefs are questioned and my faith in humanity shattered. Yes, the road to the boathouse is going to be one of many fights, both avoidable and mandatory. We couldn't just skip to the boathouse or make something interesting or slightly different. No, we must fight our way there. And as a result, there's not much to be said that hasn't already been said. There's these red lights. Those don't make any sense. Don't cast. Yep. But the walls have betrayed me! The boathouse has become the bang house. Wait. Oh, whatever. In spite of everything, Rack is still here, but proceeds to scurper. With Rack cornered, Bond forgets that he has a gun for the sake of plot progression. A dumb scuffle, distant shuffle, and distracted sticking leads us to an interrogation in Burma. If you didn't gather, we're the one being interrogated. I realise now that sentence left a degree of ambiguity. There's a possibility that we could have been watching after all. Like what Bond likes to do to random sleeping women. Also, it's in black and white for some reason. Intended to convey a still drug state, a montage to show the passage of time, or they just did it because Casino Royale had black and white. Given that this game has made no prior attempt to be artsy or creative, I'm guessing this is a shoehorned monkey see, monkey do. Okay, that sounds harsher than intended, but you get the idea. The interrogation amounts to nothing. To surmise, I'm going to kill you, look at me knife. That's it. Before the writer could be tasked to come up with a question or two for Rack to ask, the phone rings, A call to send Rack off back to Bangkok, and by extension, us to our cell, wherein a cameraman with poor balance resides. Well, I guess this is us. Oh. Well, then why didn't Remy do this? Dumbass. We're free, but inside enemy territory with nothing but the clothes in our back, crack and ankles. If there was a time for stealth, this is it. Well, that was a novel 10 seconds. Here's the thing though. We don't have the phone or the silencer. So there's that. What? What are they doing there? Why are they on the floor? You could have put them on a here! Or here! Put them in a locker. You just threw them on the floor. They even look like they were just thrown here by a dev tool. They're on a fucking grid. Evenly spaced from the wall. Wow, we have a novel setup. Let's kill it in the second fucking room you enter. That's right, lads. Kill it early. Something interesting might break out along with Bond. Reunited with our gear after a painfully long absence, it's time to make our escape and get after Rack, which is done with some cover to cover, cover and smother, and gimmick shooting. And with that, we are free. It's just that uneventfully easy. But as soon as we get out, the alarm is raised and everyone rolls out. They must think very highly of Bond if they're not going to bother searching nearby first. Ah, sir, of all the places on the bridge where you could stand, you chose the only part that I can climb. Oh, what are the odds? Things proceed as predictably as they could, until we get pinned down and blocked by a turreted APC. To deal with it, we must scour the area for grenade launchers, which, wouldn't you know it, this series of dilapidated buildings is replete with them. And so, with the aid of the densest wood in the world, the APC is KIA. But lest we forget, with all this distraction and time wasting, Rack is still getting away. But it's okay. There's a convenient VTOL plane, unlocked, with the keys inside. We somehow, inexplicably, know the route the Rack has taken and catch up to him. We get shot at by a big gun, get a rocket launched right at us, get hit, have a horrendous over 100-200 foot crash with no belt or airbags. Planes have airbags? Maybe they should. And finally, smash into the ground. But he's okay, folks. Why should I care? Why should I feel anything when there are zero repercussions? I'm not asking for dry realism. Just try to pretend that anything matters in the fucking slightest. We've crash landed in the middle of jungle nowhere. And by that, I mean just outside a labyrinthine dam that's been overrun by Rack. I would ask, have they given up? But truth be told, I don't know if I can really claim that they ever really tried. In spite of how it feels narratively, we are getting close to wrapping this up, so I should probably do the same. It's fine. There's nothing interesting happening. It's just more shooting. I've gone over the pieces of the game, but the question is, how do they come together? Not in a qualitative sense, but as a representation of its subject matter, James Bond, or even more simply, as an action spy adventure. It's a failure. To cut straight to the point, Bloodstone is not a spy game, it's a boilerplate third-person cover shooter with diversions. Motivationally draining quantities of shooting and the number of battles and number of battlers contained within. An endless barrage of bullets and death does not instill the sensation of spy craft. The action should punctuate, not be the focus. Yes, there may be a chunk that can be made optional, but to do so requires first-time perfection, or a restart from death, or unwillingness to proceed. Which, given the era of Bond that we're working with here, is a complete misrepresentation. Now, I haven't seen all the Daniel Craig Bond films, I've only seen the first 3, and I remember more about the Quantum of Solace game than I do the actual film. A little bit of trivia, my first platinum trophy. Part of the novelty of, well, at least the beginning of Craig's run as Bond, was that it was trying to be more grounded. Bond got hurt. With that context coming into Bloodstone, this isn't that era of Bond. From a narrative standpoint, they've conflated grounded for vague, vapid, and boring. And outside of the likelihood of Bond surviving the skirmish every second basin, there's just a lack of ramifications for the action. The spying amounts to practically nothing but the scanning of random bollocks, under the guise of hacking or intel gathering. The intel, some of it relevant, most of it trivia at best. Just scan any random bollocks, a vehicle, a gun in a box. Only a gun in the box. You can't just scan any old gun that's been used. No. Bond demands mint condition for the best scanning results. And of course, myriad files, some of which just thrown at someone's arse. A perfect reflection of the intel gathering's worth. We don't get the slow moments among civilians, we don't get face-to-faces with villains in public spaces where both parties poke and prod at each other. We get a casino, but only as set dressing. The closest that we get to spy work was the opening of the chemical plant, a shallow execution of the presented ideas at best that you are handheld through. What little hope that I had left for Bloodstone was pilfered by the guard as he walked away from the door. The 007 of Bloodstone ain't slick, he ain't smooth, and he certainly ain't a spy. It's another hold-off as we attempt to cross an uncrossable bridge. And it's here that something that I learned a little earlier pays dividends. The assault rifles are busted. Regular helmeted enemies go down in one hit, and the buffer ones only take 2. And they are a goddamn sniper rifle in range and accuracy when single fired. Just completely broken. As we make our way forward, we get continually harassed by Rack, who's here for some reason. I thought he had to be in Bangkok. If he left, what's Bond going to do? Well, I suppose actually the universe will warp itself to somehow help him. Couple that with Bond's supernatural tracking abilities, and you know what, alright, sure, take care of it personally. I guess. I also don't know how he's talking to us. As we'll see later, he's still in the plane. It doesn't matter. We carry forth, and after a beautifully succinct summary of the moment-to-moment of Bloodstone, we confront Rack in his VTOL. He's hovering about all nuisance-like with a shielded turret. With the straightforward not an option, we instead must make for dumb. In this case, we must loose the imprisoned liquid one spout? Whatever. One spout at a time, forcing Rack upwards and conveniently next to a platform that we can access. For reasons forced, Rack leaves his advantageous spot to fight Bond and loses practically immediately.
Bond, help me.
You had your chance, Rack.
Please, save me. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you who I'm working with.
Too late. I already know.
You do? Since when? Of course. It's amazing how he managed to avoid the blades. Oh, what were the odds?
The company had sales of 8.4 million euros.
So it is Nicole.
The owner, a British industrialist named Simon Porter, has developed a proprietary solar panel
Okay.
technology using a new kind of monocrystalline silicon wafer enhanced with copper indium diselenide.
When did they set this up? What did I miss? Because this just feels like it's come out of nowhere.
Have we inquired?
Yeah, Nicole had business ties to Pomerov. I don't know what's
said
been learned since that's supposed to have tipped us off and Nicole is behind us.
Yes.
This just came for you.
Thank you. So then, we are all agreed that he's our next target.
What is it? Is something wrong?
No. Nothing. I have to leave. The meeting is adjourned.
Nicole is getting away, but it's okay. We drove ourselves here. Yes, the concluding level of Bloodstone is one final car chase. The spectacle is stripped away. Well, mostly. It's just you chasing another car. Very similar to the first car chase in setting, but now it's more than a continuous left turn. Wide roads, narrow roads, gentle turns, tight turns, and general snakiness. Although, we do still have to make a right turn onto a dirt road to avoid a road-blocking truck with tank. Also, it is the same model, same colour cab and everything, so I would like to imagine that this is also the same driver. He's just been having a rough month. Whilst I enjoyed the slip and slide earlier, this is actually my favourite car sequence due to its stripped back nature. It's focused, it's lower stakes, and it feels more personal. This also does something that's sorely missing in other chases. Alternate roads. It's not much, but the fact that I can go onto a different road and continue the chase is a little thing, but it keeps it feeling fresh because I'm not stuck behind the target the whole time. This separation creates a so near yet so far effect without reality breaking bursts of speed. The only problem that I have with these alternate paths is that I don't know how you're supposed to take them naturally, is what I would like to say. The roads are here, they are highlighted, they rejoin the main path, but you can't use them. So near, yet so far indeed. Now you may say, if those were an option, if you take a different road, why wouldn't she just do a 180? And to that I say, this game is filled with bullshit far dumber. It would be fine. As was true in the beginning of Bloodstone is as true in the end. The lack of any kind of dynamics is a real wet blanket on this game. Regardless, we chase and reach the point where we're allowed to gain on them. Then we do a duel. Now, is this silly? Yes. Should Nicole have spun out and crashed into a horrific fiery wreck upon contact? Yes. However, I appreciate that they tried to do something. Nicole spins out, but she's okay. She's in a licensed vehicle.
Nicole, stop. Don't move.
Hello, James. Fancy meeting like this?
Drop the gun. Move away from the railing. Nicole, drop the gun.
Or what? You'll shoot me?
I'd prefer to bring you back alive, but it makes no difference to me.
When did you figure it out?
Yeah,
That's not important.
What do you mean it's not?
I want to know why.
It's very important!
Why did you do it?
There was a man. A rich and powerful man. I would have done anything for him. He asked me to help him. At first it was innocent.
And then?
I thought I could prove myself by destroying Pomerov's operation.
You did it for love?
I think it's the first time I've ever seen 3 question marks.
You of all people should know. I didn't want to grow old, alone, and poor.
Okay, but why did... Why... Okay, but how are you...
It won't make a difference.
I want a name.
I want fucking logic!
He's everywhere.
I want information!
Bigger than you.
I want to know why!
Bigger than everything.
I want to know how you know!
Watching us. Right now. There is no escape.
Nicole, down! Get down!
All we got is just to stop from the car. It's back going away to the casino.
Bond?
Which is talking about relationship shit. It was that? That came back?
Are you there?
Did they not bother writing it?
We've been concerned about you, 007. What happened?
I want to know too.
Fine, Em. But I think you're gonna need a new contact in Monaco.
What did I miss?
If you need me, you know how to reach me. Bond out.
So, during editing, I was on the lookout for what was supposed to be the tip-off. All we really learn about Nicole is that she works with jewelry and gets supplied chemicals from Pomerov. Yes, there is the relationship stuff that is established on the way to the casino, but like, that's not an explanation as to how Bond knows. It's a motivating factor for her to do the thing, but it doesn't exactly say, Nicole must be behind it. She's lonely. Nothing of note happens until we get endless threats in lieu of interrogation from Rack. The 2 points of note here are 1, look at me knife, 2, the phone call. The phone call is irrelevant. There's no information to be found, just Rack being called to Bangkok. It's the knife. When Rack is dingle-dangling, Bond takes the knife in hand and claims newfound knowledge. He goes to Nicole, sends the knife in, the knife has a red jewel. A blood stone. I have 3 questions. How the fuck does James know that this is Nicole's? How the fuck does James know that Nicole knew Rack and that this was maybe a gift or something? And finally, is this seriously what we're basing this entire twist around? James said it isn't important because I don't think he knows himself. Well, this knife has a jewel in it. I recently met someone that does jewel stuff, so therefore, ass plus Paul equals Nicole. Maybe there's something, maybe there is something smarter that I am not seeing. I don't want to rule it out. I don't know why I don't want to rule that out, but I don't. I guess part of me still wants to give some benefit of the doubt. I don't know bloody why, but part of me does. And on that wet fart of an ending, that is Bloodstone. As has been said throughout, Bloodstone is fine. If separated from all ideas of 007, it's enjoyable, it's serviceable, I can't say much more than that. Once you finish the game, you unlock 007 difficulty, and out of curiosity, I started up, and as expected, you just die quickly. I mean, I wasn't expecting a reinvention, nor a GoldenEye style increase in objectives or anything, but you know, yeah. And as was mentioned at the beginning, Bloodstone was the end of Bizarre Creations. But what of James Bond video games? Well, a sequel to Bloodstone was being developed, apparently by Raven Software, but it was cancelled, allegedly due to Bloodstone having poor sales. And then Raven were shoved into the old Call of Duty mines. 007 Legends, released in 2012 by Eurocom, the developers of the GoldenEye remake, which was the final game that Eurocom made before closing up shop that same year. Do I need to be worried for IO? Because I'm getting worried for IO. And on that distressing note, whoever you are and wherever you may be, may you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, or indeed night. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go now and hope that it was just the curse of Activision and nothing more. Goodbye. Oh god, hope they're doing fine. Oh god. Oh, IO, don't close. Oh no. I need my new hitman, IO. I wonder how many times a level or a sequence starts with this. Turns out this was all rather front-loaded, but maybe you can see why it stood out at the time. I've gone over the pieces of the game, but the question is, how do they come together? Not in a qualitative sense, but as a representation of the but as a representation.